More than 10 million Filipinos now live and work outside the Philippines, and the Filipino diaspora is still growing. But here is the surprising part. Some countries are attracting Filipinos much faster than others. New workers are arriving, families are settling down. Filipino businesses are opening, and in some places, entire communities are beginning to feel like little pieces of home. Today, we count down 8 countries where the Filipino community is growing fast right now. Some names on this list will feel familiar. Others may completely surprise you. We will see nurses, caregivers, engineers, farmers, skilled workers, and entire families building new lives abroad. And number 1 has one of the largest Filipino communities anywhere in the world. So, which countries are seeing this Filipino population grow the fastest? Let's begin. Number 8. South Korea. Close to 60,000 Filipinos now call South Korea home, and the community continues to grow. Much of this migration began through Korea's employment permit system, which created legal pathways for Filipino workers to enter factories, farms, fishing communities, and manufacturing jobs. But the story is no longer just about workers arriving alone. More Filipino spouses and families are choosing to settle permanently, while experienced workers are moving into supervisory, quality control, logistics, and other skilled positions. Caregiving is also becoming more important as South Korea faces a rapidly aging population. Outside the workplace, Filipino communities are becoming easier to find. Churches hold Tagalog masses, community groups help new arrivals adjust, and Filipino restaurants give workers a familiar taste of home. Some Filipino workers have even opened their own small businesses after years of employment. What started mainly as temporary labor is slowly becoming something much bigger. South Korea may not be the first country people associate with Filipino migration, but quietly, a strong Filipino community is taking root here. Number 7. Poland. Poland is becoming an increasingly important destination for Filipinos looking toward Europe. Around 30,000 Filipinos now live there, with the community growing alongside demand for workers in several major industries. Poland's shipbuilding, manufacturing, logistics, and technology sectors have faced worker shortages, creating opportunities for Filipino employees with both technical and practical skills. Recruitment networks have increasingly connected Polish companies with applicants from the Philippines. Today, Filipinos can be found working in shipyards, factories, warehouses, shipping, and IT, while Filipino seafarers remain connected to Poland's important maritime industry. Some Filipino engineers have also moved into technical, training, and supervisory positions after gaining experience. But perhaps the most interesting change is happening outside the workplace. Filipino families are building communities around Warsaw and other cities, gathering for church services, celebrations, and traditional food. Filipino stores are also becoming valuable meeting points for newcomers searching for familiar products from home. Poland may be a newer chapter in the OFW story, but steady employment and a growing support network are turning temporary migration into a more permanent Filipino presence. Number 6. Ireland. Ireland may be a small country, but its Filipino community has been growing remarkably quickly. Around 20,000 Filipinos now live there, and healthcare has played a major role in bringing many of them across the world. Irish hospitals have faced serious nursing shortages, creating a strong demand for experienced healthcare workers. Filipino nurses became an important part of that solution, with recruitment efforts bringing professionals directly from the Philippines. Today, Filipino nurses work across hospitals in Dublin, Cork, and other parts of Ireland. Some have moved into senior positions, while others help train and support newly arrived colleagues. But life for Filipinos in Ireland extends far beyond hospital corridors. Families gather for mass, weekend meals, community celebrations, and cultural events. Children grow up surrounded by both Filipino traditions and Irish life. Filipino grocery stores are also appearing to serve the growing population, and behind every paycheck is another story. Money earned in Ireland can help support children, parents, and relatives back in the Philippines. Ireland may be small on the map, but for thousands of Filipinos, it is becoming a much bigger part of the global Filipino story. Number 5. Japan. Japan is facing a major demographic challenge, with an aging population and growing shortages of workers across several industries. And Filipino workers are increasingly helping fill that gap. Filipinos in Japan work in caregiving, manufacturing, hospitality, agriculture, food processing, and other essential sectors. Caregiving has become particularly important because Japan needs more workers to support its rapidly aging population. New pathways for foreign workers have also created opportunities for Filipinos to build longer careers in the country. Some experienced Filipino workers are now training newcomers, while others have moved into supervisory and specialized positions. But something else is growing alongside the workforce. Filipino stores are selling familiar products like dried fish and bagoong, while community groups organize gatherings and cultural activities. These places can become unofficial support centers for workers who have just arrived. For many Filipinos, the journey begins with a job, but it does not necessarily end there. Families settle down, children grow up in Japan, and friendships become communities. Japan's Filipino population is becoming more than a temporary workforce. It is slowly developing into a permanent and recognizable part of Filipino life overseas. Number 4. New Zealand. This is one of the entries many viewers may not expect to see this high. Around 50,000 Filipinos now call New Zealand home, and the community continues to expand. Agriculture helped open the door, especially the country's huge dairy industry, where Filipino workers became known for their reliability and practical skills. As more workers arrived, some eventually moved into senior positions, including farm management. But Filipinos are no longer found only on dairy farms. They now work in healthcare, caregiving, hospitality, education, and other industries across the country. And when Filipino families settle in smaller towns, they can completely change the local community. Filipino grocery stores begin serving familiar products. Children enter local schools. Families organize basketball games, celebrations, and Filipino fiestas. These gatherings can even bring Filipino culture to neighbors who previously knew very little about the Philippines. What began with workers filling important jobs has developed into something much deeper. Filipino families are putting down roots, raising children, building businesses, and becoming part of local communities. New Zealand shows how quickly a small group of workers can grow into a proud and lasting Filipino community. Number 3. The United Kingdom. Around 200,000 Filipinos now live across Britain, making the UK one of the most established Filipino destinations outside the Philippines. Much of this story began with healthcare. British hospitals have relied on Filipino nurses for decades, especially when the National Health Service, or NHS, faced major staffing shortages. That relationship created a powerful migration pathway, bringing new generations of Filipino nurses and caregivers to Britain. Today, Filipinos work across hospitals, social care, education, and many other professions. Some nurses have advanced into leadership positions after years of experience, but the Filipino presence in Britain goes far beyond the workplace. In cities such as London, Filipino grocery stores, restaurants, churches, and community organizations have created familiar spaces for newcomers. Families gather for Mass, share Filipino food, and stay connected with relatives back home. Younger Filipino professionals are also building careers and networks of their own. For many, Britain is no longer simply a place to earn money and eventually return home. It can become a place to build a career, raise children, buy a home, and create a completely new chapter of life. Number 2. Australia. Nearly 300,000 Filipinos now live in Australia, making it one of the largest and fastest-growing Filipino communities abroad. Australia has attracted Filipino workers through skilled migration, healthcare, aged care, education, engineering, IT, and skilled trades. As the country faces shortages across several industries, Filipino professionals continue finding opportunities in both major cities and regional communities. Nurses and aged care workers have built long-term careers, while engineers, IT professionals, teachers, and skilled tradespeople have found opportunities in growing sectors. Many workers eventually bring their families, turning an overseas job into a permanent move. And that is where Australia's Filipino story becomes especially interesting. Children grow up speaking English while staying connected to Filipino culture. Community organizations continue expanding, while Filipino festivals bring food, music, dancing, and traditions into parks and public spaces. These celebrations are increasingly becoming part of the wider communities around them. For many Filipinos, Australia represents more than a paycheck. It offers stability, professional opportunity, and a future for the next generation. That combination has helped Australia become one of the most important destinations in the modern Filipino diaspora. Number 1. Canada. Canada has one of the largest Filipino communities outside the Philippines, with around 1 million Filipinos living across the country. The story began through programs that brought Filipino caregivers and other workers to Canada. But over time, opportunities expanded into nursing, healthcare, transportation, construction, trucking, skilled trades, and information technology. For many Filipinos, Canada offers something especially important: a possible pathway from temporary work toward permanent settlement. A caregiver can arrive for a job and eventually become a permanent resident, build a career, buy a home, and raise a family in Canada. Meanwhile, the community around them continues to grow. In cities such as Toronto and Winnipeg, Filipino restaurants, bakeries, salons, grocery stores, churches, and community organizations have become familiar parts of everyday life. Filipino festivals bring multiple generations together, while younger Filipino Canadians build professional networks and their own careers. This is no longer simply a community of overseas workers. It is an established Filipino population creating businesses, families, careers, and a future. Canada shows just how far Filipino migration can grow when opportunity becomes a permanent new home. From South Korea's factories and fishing towns to Canada's massive Filipino community, these 8 countries reveal one powerful story. Filipinos move abroad for better jobs, greater stability, education, family, and the hope of building a better future. But wherever they go, they bring something with them: their culture, their food, their faith, their hard work, and their connection to home. Maybe your family has already made this journey. Maybe a parent, sibling, friend, or even you are living in one of these countries right now. Which country would you add to this list? Tell us in the comments below. And if you're proud of our Kababayans around the world, like this video and subscribe to Discovering the Earth. Because wherever Filipinos go, they may build a new home, but they never stop carrying the Philippines with them.